So people, in this video we're going to be looking at some things I dare say you've never seen before. Understanding the wrist alignments and how much easier that makes the golf swing. The advantages of keeping the elbows closer together. Simply put, the golf swing is just easier when the elbows can stay closer together. Creating a triangle that remains inside the body like that, it enables the club to shallow and also helps players bring the club out in front of them, creating awesome wrist alignments and a shallow entry into the golf ball. Guys, we're going to go through some drills here and have a look at how to feel some of these positions when we're looking at great players, the characteristics of great ball strikers. And we'll also be looking at a style of swing that's so much easier for so many of the amateurs out there. A more aggressive club face position, compact swing promoting shaft lean and compression, making it much easier to control your golf ball. If you're new to the channel, guys, please subscribe. World Class Golf Instruction. People are really getting into the evidence-based material, and we're reaching lots of people. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Guys, right, let's get started and get on the path to playing some better golf. So guys, right, keeping the elbows together. I mean, the closer you can keep them together, the better it is. If you're hypermobile and you have unbelievable external rotation, if you keep the elbow point in, you know, it's good for a golf swing. But we're trying to all do the best we can, right, with what we've got, the way we're built. But this is especially in the backswing, when you get the backswing, you get the feeling of the elbows staying together. It's a compact unit. And I don't have a lot of rotation or external rotation in my shoulder. So I like to get the feeling of keeping them together on the way back. And it helps me shallow a little bit easier and get the club a little bit more out in front of me. It's just something that I practice. And you don't have to have one of these bands, but you know, you can get in there and practice with practice swings, just feeling if you are a person that has a bit of a high entry or you feel like you get the club behind you a little bit, it's a good thing to practice. It's a good thing to feel a little bit. You just don't want the elbows really, really wide because, you know, it starts to get displaying the elbows, cupping the wrist, crossing the line, disconnecting the swing. So to keep that a little bit of pressure for you guys, keeping your elbows together, especially in the backswing, it is a shallower and it helps bring the club out in front of you. Really interesting feel. We don't all have to get in there. It's very, very difficult to get the feeling of bringing this elbow in front and pushing it back down in front of us. It's difficult for a lot of us to do that and feel that. But in the backswing, if you can create that, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of feel that we've got the elbows together and sort of maintain that, it's a little bit easier sort of to think as a golfer. Also when you're practicing, or maybe you can apply that to a feel on the golf course. But an interesting area, elbows together, is in golf better than elbows way apart. So people, let's have a look at this. Now, I'm going to show a close-up here. Now, not everyone can do this, I understand that, and we're estimating around, Dr. Neil and myself, 85% of people can't do this. That's why we're going to show you a second option, but I'm still going to show you a drill, how you can incorporate this into your swing coming up. Now, let's have a look at this club face position. This is nearly quarter moving into the backswing. Now, just have a look at the line I draw down the face there. Right? That's about square, isn't it? 32 degrees. Now, watch this lead wrist as she gets to the top. And now she comes down. Can you see that wrist change and move into a flatter or a more flexed position? Now watch the club head. Now let's draw a line down this club face here. Right, that's about 20 degrees. So we've got a big difference there, haven't we? Over 10 degrees or something like that. Now you can see where the left wrist is. And guys, this move is a great move, keeping the elbows together and working this into your swing, because what we see by most great players, haven't we? We see that the lead wrist, not all of them, but it's in a flex position. Now we want to get the club head essentially here pointed on this side of 1 o'clock, regardless of your style, right? That just makes the game so much easier. Now we're going to have a look at some amateur golfers here, and we're going to have a look at the way that they bring the club down and a style of swing. We're going to talk about this because it's finding your area in your swing that makes the game easier, setting up your backswing to suit your style of swing. We are all slightly different. I'm going to explain that to you. Let's have a look. So from the takeaway position on the left to the delivery position on the right, we lose about 45 minutes. I know that sounds unusual, but this is how the club head works. As we load and lag in the downswing, the club head will change position. In the takeaway, we can see that the knuckles are pointing downwards, the toes at 1 o'clock. And this position here is really, really essential. What we're seeing with club players, unfortunately, a lot of the amateur golfers, is they're losing about 2 hours on the way down. Now, unfortunately, from our tests and estimations, we're seeing around 85% of amateur players coming in knuckles up and with the club face open, and this is causing heel shots, flipping, standing up on it, losing lag angles. We're seeing this position a lot. Now, it doesn't have to be this way. We're going to go through a couple of drills. We're also going to show you a style of swing for the masses of people. When they do open the face coming down, it's still square. So depending on your swing style, you can get yourself into a position at the top so that when you're coming down, you're slotting this golf club and making it so much easier. So people, when we have 85% of the club golfers around the world early extending, flipping, not getting the compression, and opening up the club face on the way down, what makes more sense is if we close the club face a little bit on the way back and at the top of the swing so that when they open it up, it's still square, right? Now, this style of swing, you see how compact it is. See that the elbow's resting here on the original shaft plane. That helps us shallow out the plane, right? The shoulders are down, close to 40 degrees. This is a really good area to be in your swing. And we can see that where that club face is positioned, you know, from both players here, we can draw a line on that. Now, you might not need the club head that strong. You might need the club head, you know, in a little bit of a weaker position. So that when we look at the top of the swing, it might be something like this. It just depends on how much you open up the club on the way down. Because essentially what we're after, guys, is this position here, right? You have to be filming your swings with your mobile phone or send your swing through to me for a swing analyst. It's a, you know, we'll get you moving in the right direction. So that is the position that we're after. Now, when we have a look at, you know, a lot of the great players these days, they're turning those club heads into stronger positions, especially on the way down. Amateurs are opening it up. And when we see this type of position, which doesn't look too bad at the top of the swing with the amateur player, we'll see that the club compared, you know, coming down, it's going to be in a very weak position. And this is what's causing a lot of people to flip. You know, this style of position here where the club face is well open compared to this style of swing. It's just much easier to repeat, and you can release it more underneath with your body rather than have to pull everything around and have shoulders that are really, really flat through the golf ball. So people, the question is, what style of club face position suits your swing? And we're going to have a look at that now coming up. First off, what we do from the takeaway to the delivery position, just quickly, get that club head in that takeaway position at 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock my side, because when you load and create angles and the right arm comes in a different position, we're going to get this club, we're going to lose about 45 minutes. All right, sounds funny, I know, but that's what happens to just 99% of the golfers out there, and that's going to bring the club into a good position. So if you've got it at 12, you're going to lose 45 minutes. You're presenting the heel to it. You're flipping. You've got to pause your hips. A lot of people slicing, but you can also flip it left. Not a good place to be. So make sure you get that part right. Now let's have a look at these different styles just quickly before we look at some great drills. Getting up to the top of the swing, I'm going to illustrate it with the oversized club. I don't know where you get it. I get a lot of messages about it, but I got it 20 years ago. I don't think they make it anymore. So I'm going to swing up to the top, and you'll have to excuse me if I get it a couple of degrees wrong. But you know, looking at neutral technique at the top, you'll be sort of seeing the leading edge and the same as the forearm here. You might be seeing, Rory McIlroy here or Justin Rose. Sometimes you see the guys with a 3-knuckle grip slightly cupped to get that position, or a 2-knuckle grip and the lead wrist is flat. Now these guys, we got 85% of golfers, club golfers, unfortunately, opening up from there. But the top players, they bow this wrist down. And we're going to have a look at an exercise coming up there and how you can measure that as well. And they'll bring it in this position. But for a lot of people, that's hard. And back in the day, a closed club face was just looked upon as really a bad place to be. But the guys that do it, they hit it really strong, don't they? They get great compression on it, which we'll have a look at. Now, when we get a 3-knuckle grip and we flatten the left wrist, the leading edge gets higher. And for a lot of people, when they slightly open up the face from here, they can really develop a great position coming down. And you might even, I do this with a lot of players. Sometimes we teach players a slightly different driver grip. Obviously, we have a lot of players slicing it. But if you get it into even for people that really open up the face coming down, this is not for everyone, but a 4-knuckle grip, and you might even side grip it a little bit, like Duval. And when you get to the top, you see where that leading edges and that left wrist is flat. And from here, you have to get shaft lean. So when you flip it to square. When you change your grip and get a stronger position, you'll hit them left. Then you can start to add in some shaft lean. It'll happen by itself. Then you can actually open up your body. You don't have to pause your hips. How many of you look like this at impact? And that's hard to repeat. It's hard to time. And that's why on WorldClassGolf.com we developed deep to shallow, a swing style that's helping so many people. It's more compact. The shoulder planes are really impressive. It gets you in a really solid position. And we've got subtle variations here that accommodate a lot of players. You don't have to practice all the time. Guys, if you're looking at a great platform, we've got a $199 deal there. It's a silver membership. We get a lesson off me, a personal swing lesson, goes between 15 and 30 minutes. There's 1,300 videos, so there's 80 series, and it covers like advanced pitching, lag and compression. You've got distance, there's fitness, there's all sorts of different videos in there. Let's now have a look. Reach out to me because we're helping a lot of people. Let's now have a look at some great drills and exercise, how we can measure this wrist position, which is an amazing thing that I do in my practice. And we'll look at some drills and get on the path to playing some much better golf for everybody out there. So guys, one of the things I love about this HACKMOTION for my own game is I love to be able to shallow the club out down the bottom quite a bit. It just helps me hit the ball much better. And to do that, I like to get my lead wrist to move into a flex position. And you can hear the biofeedback, hear the sound. And I set it between -5 and -10, which means the lead wrist, when it's an extension, it's in a plus number, right? If it gets to 0, it's pretty flat, but if it bows a little bit, it moves into a minus. And that's what I get the feedback. And you can use your mobile phone. You got it on the screen in front of you. You use your iPad. You got a little stand like this, and you can get in there and really feel where that club's coming down. And if I open up the face, it's gone. And then of course you can hit a shot and you got your feedback. Guys, if this is it's just a no-brainer. If you're working with evidence-based instruction, and if you're serious about improving your golf, this is just a great thing to do. HACKMOTION, you can, you've got the V1 Golf to film your swing. You can jump on WorldClassGolf.com. You've got online lessons. I can teach you personally. There's Zoom calls, there's Skype calls, there's, it's just really getting people on a great path. And looking at WorldClassGolf.com, we're improving people on average, and this is the truth, between 4 and 11 shots. The people that are taking online lessons, the people that are on that platform, and recommending something like this HACKMOTION. Jump into the link there. There's a discount code for you. You're going to get it cheaper and get on the path to playing some great golf with some evidence-based instruction. So guys, right, I've got a really interesting visual effect here when we're moving down into the downswing. Now what we're going to do, everyone's got a mobile phone, haven't they? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come down, we're going to get the mobile phone when you're around here. I want the mobile phone to be pointed down and away from you. Now if we could see the face of the mobile phone, the hands moves, or the lead wrist moves into a extended position. The club head gets open, the club head is now in front of the hands. If we point this thing down, this is the area I want to get you in, so you get that club behind your hands. So it's a really interesting one. We need big, clear pictures. Right? You're not going to hit with a mobile phone, obviously, but this right trail wrist, right? Once this trail wrist is really into a great position, you can imagine that holding that phone, so you can apply lots of drills. The phone's down, the phone's down. The right palm is pointed downwards on the way back, and it's pointing downwards on the way through. We're just seeing too many amateurs come in knuckles up, right? And this is causing all sorts of stalling of the hips. They have to throw the club head at it, they early extend. This is a great way to get more awareness of your hands and wrists, get that club head in behind the hands, and get the hands moving much more like an advanced ball striker. The closer you get to these positions, the better you're going to hit the golf ball. So guys, right, let's have a look at a great drill here to pick up your awareness with your wrist alignments and help you really get yourself into a great position. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use a system where we pump the arms a couple of times. This is how it's sort of going to look. Right? You take it up to the top, and when you come down, your left arm is going to be under parallel, but your lead wrist is going to be bowed a little bit here and moved into a flex position, when the right wrist is holding onto a really big angle. Right? And I want you to get this type of feeling where you're moving your arms down. I'll show you how you do it from this side. So you take your address position. Right? When you're making a practice swing, it won't be as dynamic, so it's going to be a little bit shorter than it normally is. That tends to happen. Now, what we do is we get up to the top of the swing. We bring the arms down so the left arm is under parallel, but the plane of the club is exaggerated somewhat and it's really, really shallow. It's really behind your hands, right? From this position, now you might miss-hit a couple or hit them thin, but it's just to create some really good awareness. Up to the top, lower these arms. 1, 2, and then give it a hit. And the feeling it's quite remarkable sometimes. You'll probably, when you practice a little bit, you'll get better at it, or the contact sometimes, than your normal shots. At the start, it's a bit difficult. As I said, creating body awareness. Get yourself organized over the golf ball. Up at the top of your swing, come down slowly. Watch that lead wrist. Move into a flex position. 1, 2, and give it a hit. And you can get a feeling at the bottom of the swing that you're actually, once you've kept this angle in this right trail wrist, once you've got this angle, you can get a feeling of throwing your arms at it a little bit. It's almost like you'll get a bit of a forearm jolt. All right, so great drill. Once more, last one. Up to the top, bring it down. 1, look at that lead wrist. 2, and it's a great way to get yourself moving your hands more like the great players. It's about improving your positions, 5%, 20%, 10%, just getting better at hitting a golf ball. Guys, this is a really, really interesting drill. Get into your mobile phones, film your swing, WorldClassGolf.com, swing analysts, I can be your coach. This is the stuff that helps us hit the ball so much better.